Okay, guys, Coach Houston's about to join. Coach
How's it
Houston,
going,
you there,
Bob?
buddy?
How you doing?
Okay, Coach, we'll let you take it over, okay?
All right. That was typical Eastern North Carolina August morning this morning. So that was good. We need the heat. So I thought the kids watched the film yesterday afternoon, and it's we've got a group of returners that they have a lot of pride in themselves, and they're hungry to get this thing going. And they weren't pleased with our practice yesterday. Not that anybody wanted to go out there and not practice sharp, but the film was what the film was, and they took it very, very well. And I thought we had a great start to practice. Ton of energy. Just so many, just huge improvements from yesterday from a lot of aspects. Now, they really pushed themselves to practice at a much higher level, much better pursuit, much better, just pushing through, playing fast, and that heat now beat down on them, which you can all understand that. There's a point in practice where they really had to make some decisions. And I was really pleased with the bulk of the roster just in how they pushed through. So I think, day two was a positive improvement from day one. I told them, no doubt I sit here and say we got better today. It's certainly going to continue to be a challenge you're basically having to play yourself into shape, whereas most preseasons you report in shape. So it was a solid step, and 2 practices in a row. That's two more than we've had at any other point in this year. So good day to be a Pirate.
Okay, we'll open it up to questions.
Coach, John Gilbert said yesterday he was good with 10 games at this point. In thinking about that, and nobody knows what's going to happen, but obviously playing more games gives you more chances to become bowl eligible.
Right.
Share your thoughts on that, if you would.
I have no clue what being bowl eligible means this year. I don't know how many. We just want to play. 10, 11, 9. We just want to play. John's very good at his job. I believe in him and trust him completely. So he will put together the best schedule that he can for East Carolina University, and we're going to play it.
Coach, how would you feel about playing James Madison? They're apparently rebuilding their schedule, and that game would have some intrigue, I think.
Yeah, it has some intrigue. A bunch of kids I recruited. Yeah. I know them well. They're a good football team, real good football team.
Coach, as you approach this season with a year of offense under your belt at East Carolina, what are some of the things that you hope to, try to improve as you approach this season a little bit?
Well, I think the things to improve on, if you're talking offensively, it took us about half a year to get going last year, and the reasons for that are there's a lot of them. Holton's first full year as a starter, new offensive coordinator, learning our personnel, us learning them learning us, Donnie and Holton kind of getting on the same page, us making some adjustments about mid-season to be able to help him a little bit more. The second half of the season played at an extremely high level, and certainly we want to build on that. We all know that we've got to be more efficient and more effective running the football. I'd like to be able to keep, the production in the passing game that we had the second half of the season and be able to add in that dimension of being able to run the football effectively. So, there's kind of those 2 pieces right there. I think that, our receiving room, we don't have, huge numbers, but the ones we have are pretty solid players and they all have experience. So, real pleased with that as far as, having something to build on from a leadership standpoint with our personnel.
Coach, it's obviously early in practice, but what have you seen from the quarterback position? Obviously, with a lot of young guys there getting reps.
There's a bunch of them. That's one thing. So figuring out how to get reps has been one deal. Of course, there's good and bad practicing the way we're practicing right now, one of the really good things is, with running multiple practices at the same time, you're getting a lot of reps. Now, the negative is Donnie's not with all of them, so he's having to coach a lot of stuff off film. But the things I've seen, I think Holton has looked like the Holton of last year. He has complete control of the offense. He has complete control of the huddle. Talented player, understands the offense, and he looks like what you would expect. The young ones, they're all over the place. You got Gag and Flynn who have a little bit of their feet on the ground. So they are able to at least operate the offense a little bit of a higher manner. Man, then you have the three freshmen, and boy, you've seen some pretty impressive things talent wise from those three. But there's a lot of difference in standing there throwing Skelly and being able to run an offense and lead a group, 5 offensive linemen that are all, older than you, and standing in front of them and see the bullets start flying as the defense starts coming at you. So every snap, I told one of them today, and he had an up and down day today. He made some throws that you're like, wow, that is pretty impressive right there. And then he had some moments where he just crumbled. Every snap they get, they will improve. Every snap they get is experience. We're throwing more at them than they ever had in high school. And so I guess to kind of sum it up is it's a room that has a lot of talent. It's a room that's going to be highly competitive. And it's a room that has the depth that this program needs, not just for this year, but for the foreseeable future.
Coach, can you talk about the defensive line? I know there's been a lot of question marks as far as experience is concerned and numbers, but can you talk about the defensive line for so far this season?
We've got numbers. I mean, they're a small army over there. We've got, it's last year we had, very, very low numbers, but we've got an army of them over there, and they look like defensive linemen. They're big kids. We got good size. They are very, very green. We've kind of split it up this year because of that, with Byron Thweet and Roy Tesh both coaching the defensive line together. So they're getting a lot of individual instruction, a lot of fundamental teaching, and much like those quarterbacks, they're going to do some things where you're like, wow, that's pretty impressive, and then they're going to do some things where you're like, yeah, he's got to learn, he's got to get some experience, he's got to mature. So I'm pleased. I like the room. We just got to grow them up. Just got to build them and grow them up.
At what point, Coach, will there be an emphasis, if it not already, on getting a lot of reps widespread and getting guys ready? Because when you get in season with testing, you could lose a starter on short notice. At what point will that getting multiple guys ready come into play, you think?
Well, that's what we're doing right now with, the practices on multiple fields. You have the incoming freshmen that are getting just as many reps as your returning starters. And so, right now we have it split up where the ones, and we don't call them 1s and 3s, but in essence, the 1s and 3s are on one field, the 2s and 4s are on another field. We just call them Group A and Group B, and we shuffle them around a lot. Guys go back and forth between fields day to day, but in essence, you are building your depth the way we're practicing right now. Now it may kill all of us. It's certainly aging the coaches, but I do think it's what we have to do this year. You're getting, every one of those quarterbacks are getting reps. Every one of those D linemen are getting reps. Every one of those running backs are getting reps. And those reps are what's going to prepare them for the games.
Coach, you mentioned, of course, normally you report in shape. It's a different situation this year. Are you doing some lifting, and are practices focused more on developing condition at this point?
Well, our practices are focused on trying to practice faster and trying to get as many reps as we can and really try to play ourselves into shape. We're taking small breaks at certain times during practice, but we're really pushing the kids hard during the time in between the breaks. That's where we're getting a lot of our cardiovascular. We are lifting every other day. They have a lift this afternoon starting at 2:30. Now, with the restrictions still from the state of North Carolina, our lifting is not quite as easy as it used to be. So our lifting is in small groups from 2:30 all the way till dinner. It's a lot of coordination and organization that has to go in there to get that to run smoothly. But we are lifting and running both during preseason camp.
Coach,
Anything
are there any
else?
more questions?
Yeah, I got one more for you hit on kind of the quarterbacks earlier, but specifically with Mason. I know there was maybe some question about his eligibility this year. Do you guys at this point expect that, or is that still kind of up in the air as far as that?
Compliance is working with the NCAA, and we're hopeful. It's a deal where I think it would help him if he were able to travel, if he were able to play a little bit this year. It's not the worst thing in the world if that doesn't happen. So, our administration's working on that right now.
Coach, we obviously brought in several transfers, one of which Ryan Jones is not on campus yet out of Oklahoma. But talk about what you've seen of those guys on the first 2 days.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of them have made some already positive impacts. I think when you look at Avery Jones and Justin Chase, both of those guys are working with the first and second offensive line, so they're pushing for starting positions right now. You look at Chris Willis, an experienced guy on that defensive line. It's just his maturity has been the thing that's been the most impressive so far. He's actually played, and he played significant snaps, so that's been really good to see there. Some of the guys in the secondary, whether it's Robert Kennedy or Sean Dorso or Nigel Knott, they've made us more athletic. They've made us faster. They've given us depth, and you could keep on. And we do have quite a few. So it's a deal where you're adding in those sprinkles of older players into an extremely young football team. That's only going to help with the growth of those young players, and it's going to help where at some point, at some places, you might not have to play a freshman this year, where if you would have, it could have been, some rough days.
Anytime you have weather coming in, like possibly on Monday, it kind of throws things into a bit of disarray.
Yeah.
What's the plan moving into tomorrow and to Monday a little bit?
Well, we've talked about, the preseason, trying to take it, pushing them hard when we're out there, but take it slow with some stuff just to not, not bring them along too fast. So we originally had planned on taking tomorrow as an off day from practice, still train, a lot of film, stuff like that. We have changed that. We are going to practice tomorrow. We're going to monitor the weather as to whether or not we practice on Monday or Tuesday. I do want to get us an off day here, pretty early in camp. So if any of you guys have a connection, you can tell me what that hurricane is going to do for sure. I'd be glad for you to let me know. You guys have lived in this part of the state longer than I have.
Do we have any more questions for Coach Houston? Okay, Coach Houston, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good weekend.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Probably get text. Yeah, doing it.